Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Samuel Parandroid, and I'm the designer of VECTRA. VECTRA is a power synth that combines a virtual analog engine with one of the most advanced wavetable engines ever built. And today, I am super happy to actually show it to you for the first time in a kind of like systems overview and just familiarize you a little bit with the systems, because there are many and they are quite deep. So we'll start from the left and then just like go over the front page, but we will go through the metrics, which you can see here, which also has like a drag and drop feature. And we'll go through the ARP, which is here, which also has a lot of features, and I need to explain it. I'll show you briefly the FX panel, and then the hard piece and really the standout feature of VECTRA, the most powerful wavetable generator that was ever designed, I believe, to be honest. And this is VECTRA Forge. This is a parent incubator DNA system where you can take those and, you know, incubate them. Here you can of course order them if you want, and then you would just like choose which oscillator you would want to send that. Depending on the recipe, I can choose stuff modularly, and then I can just like send, for example, you know, this oscillator, which is made from those different DNAs, and send it to the front, and then you don't see it right away. You would have to switch engine bay. There you go, this is it. And then we have it here. So there's many systems that I need to show you in the synthesizer. And also we have many advanced visualizers as well, and many advanced elements that we'll have to discuss. Without further ado, let's get this going. Let's start with the tree engine block. So as I said, this one is like a little bit like hideous right now because the color is not correct. But with our advanced overlay, it already looks a lot better. We have two of them. This is the virtual analog engine, and it is inspired by the great synthesizers like the Virus TI, which is my favorite hardware synthesizer and something that I grew up with to a certain degree. So that has a vastly different and for many cases a superior sound than any wavetable or almost all wavetables like usually would give you. Wavetables are very complex and they can be vastly different from their content. So this is a little bit a generalized thing that I'm just saying here. But we have built a full-on virtual analog modeled engine. This is engine bay number 1. Engine bay number 2 is our, as I said, normal generative VECTRA engine. By normal, those are not normal at all. Those are actually not .wav files as you are used to. You could export them as .wav, but VECTRA is more powerful than that, and actually has systems to generate the highest quality wavetables and also oversample them before export and send them directly into the system. And in this case, those actually live in the system. They are code. They are not .wav. They are uncompressed. That's why you can also do incredible things that you could never do with another system. And there our AWC advanced wave core element comes into play, because you can take any oscillator and I can just transform it with different algorithms. So what you can do with this system is vastly different from Serum, Pigments, Massive X, Vital, you name it. Those are all quite advanced systems in their own right, but I will show you today a couple of features that you cannot do with them, because they are based on, basically, in my opinion, from my perspective of somebody who has written this and designed this new system, a kind of last-gen non-generative wavetable system. Generative, by the way, don't get confused. It has nothing to do with AI generative. It is simply able to produce an infinite amount of highest quality 12-dimensional MIP-mapped wavetables that are absurdly high quality. And you shouldn't get confused by the terminology, that's all I'm saying. Those are our normal quote-unquote wavetables, okay? We can check them out, we can go through the index, You can see the mandalizer changing through the index. This is a highly accurate wavetable visualizer. So you're saying, but oh my god, that is a mandala. Yeah, we take the data and we are completely acting, you know, on the premise that everything that you are seeing on VECTRA is built on. Everything is informed by the DSP. Nothing is fake. Everything is truth. All the things that you see in VECTRA are driven by actual telemetry data from the DSP, and all that while staying extremely performant. Why is the camera getting stuck? I cannot believe it. Okay guys, you know what? I will not restart this video. I will not restart this video, guys, okay? I'm very sorry. I don't know, like, what this fucking Elgato camera, what its issue is, okay? I have no idea. But as you can see, it seems to be freezing up. I hope that is not too distracting, because as far as I know, I think I just, like, you know, basically froze for, like, an unknown amount of time. I am really sorry for that. I just want you to bear with me. Look, I'm working on this every day, 18 hours, literally, like a maniac. And I know that I need to communicate what I have built. So I'm a perfectionist. Maybe you can see that in my work. And therefore, there is a danger that I just never share what I'm doing with you, because it's not 100 million% perfect, just as what you could see right now, right? Like with the freezing. But it's like the third time or something that I'm starting this video. I'm not going to restart this video. I'm just going to keep on explaining you a little bit about what I'm building. Normal wavetable system, which is not a normal wavetable system, which is one of the most killer wavetable systems ever built. Very special in itself, because we can basically simulate any wavetable with our AI generators, and then that gives us basically the possibility to pull in MIT level data, you know, like highest level scientific music theoretical data. And I used those to inform the design of all of those. Those are different, you know, levels, where I designed some really special ones, and they are very unique. For example, Golden Choir sounds completely different. Then, for example, Tamed Chaos. It's now with the FM, you know, like, I'm gonna blow out your ears like that if I'm just like have full FM and hard sync going on, and then like putting extremely high FM loaded wavetables on top of that. But yeah, those are really cool. And of course, you know, if I want to modulate that, there you go. Now it is done. I have just like written a connection here in the living matrix, which is also another innovation of mine. It's a drag and drop system, but the opposite way around. So like I can take any envelope here, they are abstracted, it's not finished, this design. Let's say I want LFO3, I can just put LFO3 here. And let's say I want, you know, for example, WT position 2. Then I can just like drop that here. And it will do all of that automatically. But more on that later. I'm sorry, it's like, I know, I'm jumping from stuff to stuff. And you can, of course, like double click to remove, etc. And that is also a thing. So those wavetables are extremely powerful in their own right. But what I showed you before, right, like was this thing, and that looked somehow really interesting, didn't it? Yeah, for a good reason. This is like really the crown jewel of my design efforts. There is nothing on the market like this, because I developed it. Like some people ask me also about the matrix. It's like, is that, does anyone else have it? No, it's like nobody else have it, because I just mentally designed it. So, you know, there's stuff like inspiration that you can get from peers, but if you want to design something that doesn't exist yet, which was totally what I did, then the whole game is very different. And then suddenly, you know, your own imagination is the limit. And of course, your efficiency in making that a reality that is thread safe, that is asynchronous compute, that is highly performant, right? We're looking at this, it's like, oh my God, this will blast my computer. No, it won't. It's actually highly performant. And that's another deal, of course, okay? So we have a drag and drop modulation system that is very expansive. This is, by the way, just in development, so unfinished part, but fully functional. And by the way, we can also, even like, if I'm putting a lot of, you know, let's put a couple of destinations, as you can see, this is even animated. So I can, like, you know, go to the panel and it would show me the line where it is wired up. That is an alpha system. It will get polished, but I can remove that here. I was working on the system today. So then, yeah, we have those really, really awesome ones. But then we have those, you remember? And those is the third engine bay. We have, like, now the first one, which is the virtual analog. It looks a little bit shitty right now, but it will ultimately get this visualizer overlay as the standard when you load it up, and it will be adjusted for the theme colors. By the way, we also have themes. You know, I built a theme system into the code. So, like, that is not completely done, but it exists and it runs. And that is the first engine bay. The second engine bay is, of course, the powerful VECTRA wavetable engine that is not directly linked up to VECTRA Forge. VECTRA Forge is this. So then that leaves us with the third and arguably the most insane and powerful system that is inside VECTRA, and that is the VECTRA Forge. So in VECTRA Forge, I think it makes sense that I, you know, like, basically, I should probably reload VECTRA for this, but then it will just, like, reload all the settings, right? Yeah, it will remember everything, or will it reset? Great, I think it reset. Yeah, perfect. I will have to show that to you from an init preset. Why? Because you need to actually hear what is going on, right? Like, if I'm just talking about it, then it's, like, a little bit hard to understand. So let's start with a very simple parent, right? So this is a wavetable, advanced wavetable generator, as I said, and I'm going to explain it to you. It has a XYZ pad, which is this thing. It has a Mandelizer puck. The Mandelizer is a thing that you will see in many places in the synthesizer. And it has parent slots, which are probably some of the most amazing things in the system. And you have a mutation amount, a mutate all button, which is kind of like a joker in itself. You have tooltips also, you can, like, just hover over it, it will explain you what it is. And you have a Z-morph for the parents, but the Z-morph will only apply to parents where the Z-morph value applies inside the wavetable. So as you can see right now, for example, here it will change, and you can even see it in DNA Inspector. It's pretty much like a weird type of square waveform. But if you Z-form it, then you have, like, those kinds of offsets, etc. But then, like, on this one, you can see that it has zero effect. And that is correct. That is just, like, it's data-driven. Let's listen to just this oscillator, which is the complex saw. The complex saw has only, basically, a ratio which increases the amount of saws. And, like, basically how the phase is shaped, yeah? So we can just, like, try and listen to it. We are going to make it easy for you and just, like, go to oscillator 1 in this case, and then go back to VECTRA Forge. And now we're just listening to oscillator 1. Oscillator 1 is already selected and sent to oscillator. And we can basically go over here and, you know, do something like this, and then send to oscillator. And now when I go over here, there you go. We have our simple saw over here. This is really just to show you, you know, how the basic system works. Now we're going let's put that back up a little bit so that it has some amplitude and some, like, you know, multiple saws. Now we can go to the second parent in the parent DNA bank, and we can choose any. So, like, of course, I as the designer, I have access to all of them, and there are now some extremely advanced modular nodes, which is, for example, crystalline formant, etheric glass, fractal FM, phase scatter, and granular hybrid. And those are really insanely powerful. They're like, they have to be tested, but until now all tests are showing that they are extremely well optimized and they are performing, although they are like on another level from complexity and access of the user. But now we can, like, for example, take this very simple saw on slot A on the XYZ pad, and then we take the granular hybrid on basically here on the B side of things. We can set it however we want, right? Like right now we don't know it yet, so we probably should send and listen to it, and then we can like change stuff, and then we send again, and then we can listen again to it. If you ask yourself why this is not real time, because it wouldn't work, basically, this system real time. We have another system for that, and that is the AWC wave core, which is, you know, our real time warp and real time mutate / reforge system. I will show that to you later. That has the real time algorithms. But this is, as I said, ASIA recipes, and those are some of the most advanced ones that are existing, basically, in the system. And we can mix them, so we can listen to our saw, and now we can listen to our granular hybrid. We just have to send it. Sounds completely different. And now we can start to also like shape the granular hybrid by just like, you know, grain size, density, texture, and seed wave. So even for this one singular oscillator, we could have like pretty intense stuff. And if we like it, then we just click send to oscillator. And then now I have it over there. And then I can go over this one we have already checked. I don't need to check it again, but we can mix it. So if we want, like now the two DNAs, those are not the sounds. This is hyper crucial for you to conceptually understand. Those are not sounds. Those are not sounds. Those are DNA recipes for sounds that we now can mix. We are not mixing output A, output B. We're taking two highly complex DNAs of sounds, and we're mixing those DNAs together in a very playful and enjoyable and stimulating and also seamless manner. So we can now take those two recipes and mix them equally, for example. That would be like that. If I click send to OST, you can hear the right one, you can hear the left one, and you can hear both together. So both of those DNAs are now mixed into this wavetable, and I can send them over. We have them here now, literally. And you can see, as always, the wavetable index will react, and it will react accurately. So for example, your question might be, but why is this looking like this? And why is this looking like this? Why are they always looking different depending on which wavetable you choose? The shapes change. This is because it is accurately showing the content of the wavetables, and therefore that is all correct. And now we have it here. And that is quite cool. We can listen to it quickly as like, basically like to cleanse your palette. I will go to our analog engine. That is a pure analog saw, virtual analog saw. And then if you listen to our VECTRA Forge, then you have a vastly more complex oscillator. That really, really sounds good. We can also listen to it. But of course, by the way, I didn't show the unison modes. So there's so much more to show you. I just will not get it in all in one video. We have, of course, an extremely powerful unison mode, which is, you know, just extremely absurdly powerful sounding. There's no other way to I know it's like I'm the designer and all, but it just is what it is in the end. Yeah, that was not really smart. I should take instead the filter, of course. We can also put that to MSEG. So we just have that in an instant. Sorry for like getting sidetracked by my own synth. We can also listen to it. Maybe like we'll put that down to less voices. Bum bum. We can actually push out the master a bit more then. So this is how it sounds if you have like two oscillators. This is the standard VECTRA Forge seat, so there's not even a VECTRA Forge oscillator inside there. So let's get another one. So this game, of course, you can play this again. You can go to another oscillator. You could, again, like now I did stuff, of course, to it. So let's go to the VECTRA Forge and let's just listen to Glassy Pad, for example. You know, let's see, is it? Yeah, it is. All on oscillator 1. It sounds completely different. I put the master back down. This is a really loud one. Yeah, this one is very loud as it is. So I would definitely start to change it. And you can, of course. In this case, you have ratio A, ratio B. It's like slightly maybe can be improved from the labeling. So but, for example, let me explain you one thing. The cool thing with this system is that you can have recipes that are really, really, really crazy, and they are basically sounding they sound too crazy on their own, basically. But as you are mixing the DNA, they are often like exactly those recipes which are the best to mix into, basically. So in this case, I'm listening to it, yeah. I'm going to Glassy Pad. And I'm adjusting it, and it sounds quite harsh. Maybe, for example, if I would put the ratio up, right, like then it would be very like almost obnoxiously dynamically just dense, harmonically dense. But we can just like take a little bit of it, right? We can just like just mix it in with all the other ones. I mean, this one is also from Asia. It's also an insane one, but this is the genius, right? We can have a simple saw. We can have this sound, which sounds now really, really, also really intense on its own. Let's... And then you can have this one. And then this one, for example, Dirty Sub is like really, really, really tame. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. And you can take all four by putting the puck in the middle. And now you have all 4 DNAs. And when you send this one, then now we have that here. And this is VectraForge. Like, this is a bit of VectraForge. There's so much more. So you can, like, you know, definitely spend years with this system, to be honest with you. And the amazing thing is also that when you are buying VectraForge, ultimately when it comes out, it will go first into like a closed beta from selected people that I select. And then I will, of course, at some point either do, you know, work with distributive organs, let's say like that, like with maybe even with bigger companies like Splice. And then you can purchase it. And of course, it will come in very different versions. For example, the whole VectraForge will also go standalone. It already exists fully standalone. Actually, it was developed standalone in parallel and then joined. Like in mind, of course, I designed everything in mind for the system. One of the system is based on the other and stacking onto the other. Like all what I did is like only possible because I developed one really freakish system. The basically generative wavetable system, the specific one that I've built. And then from that, an insane amount of really, really almost magic seeming possibilities popped out. It just in the realm of, in the latent space of possibilities. And then I could go really mental. That's why AWC and a couple of other features that I'm going to show you in this video or in another will kind of like make your eyes pop and your jaw drop. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. I think it's really like impressive in some cases. You can spend tons of time just with one single one of them. And you can see like, okay, this one is too harsh, right? Okay, like I'm gonna pull it down into, for example, dirty sub, right? Like, which is like the exact opposite. And you can see already like, okay, you know, like the dense, it is like that. It is like accurately portraying what is happening there. Very harmonically dense, almost frighteningly so. And then like, okay, we're gonna get some nice DNA there to like space frequencies out. And, you know, we can listen to it. One, nice. And then the other. Almost 2 FM, right? But if you're like pulling it down, bam. And this is just like by an intuitive motion of moving the puck. Which is also quite cool is that ultimately I will at some point, if it isn't already, I think it should be natively compatible with touchscreens. But I imagine that this system is very much fun. And the whole VECTRA systems are all built on this premise, which you are getting shown right now. Which is like data-driven accuracy meets stellar UI, UX, and that meets, again, very innovative approaches that you cannot find anywhere else because I have designed them. And if somebody is stealing them, then you also know where this is coming from because this system, before I designed it, didn't exist, for example. And that is, you know, married with highly performant and extremely well-sounding shit, basically. This is the VECTRA philosophy that is all driven visually by telemetry data and basically informed by the DSP and by truth. VECTRA looks like it would be quote-unquote lying to you and like, you know, having a lot of effects, etc. In reality, the opposite is the case. It is actually speaking truth a lot. And listen, I just scratched the surface. The MSEGs are, again, something that the amount of time that I just spent on the MSEGs is quite frankly ridiculous, but it was totally worth it. It, of course, adheres to the same principle, right? We take our modulation up and we will just like put it here. And then like you can just drag and drop and draw. And you can take those for 2 points, for example. And we can just take them and right click into our context menu. And I can just like put in a sample and hold there, right? Like I can just like do that. We can just like put that here and put that one here. But this is not even where it stops. Let me show you another thing, right? First of all, I can drag it to expand it, which is really, really cool. I can zoom in. I can pan and zoom. I can hit the lock button, which will then like basically format it into the screen. you need to keep in mind that this is miniaturized. I have developed it as this, and both of them will be accessible. This one has the wrong color now. Don't get confused about it. Let's talk about the MSEG system. Oh my god. Okay. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna explain. This system is extremely vast, you need to understand. So, like, it's a rabbit hole, right? Like, you go inside anywhere. I didn't even start to show you our really, really high-end filters. We have insane analog model filters like the Oberheim SEM, which is insane. Like, this is like huge code, and it sounds insane. We have stuff like really, really cool advanced vowel filters, phasers, and so forth, that all have like dynamic controls, right? Like, it will all show you what it is, etc. appropriately. And then we have the MSEG system, and I'm going to talk about this now very briefly. What is our MSEG system? Our MSEG system is an extremely advanced envelope system. Originally, VECTRA had an ADSR. This is how it all started. And then it had a point MSEG system way down the line. It was one of the last advanced systems that got integrated by me and designed by me, and one of the most gruesome end bosses any designer in DSP and UI UX could ever have. Believe me that, okay? Like, that is really like totally the case. And I will explain it. MSEG and DSR. What is a DSR? It's a delay, attack, hold, decay, sustain, release, and then you have like curve in our case. So it's a fixed envelope, and it is more advanced than an ADSR, but it's quite simple to control. And you can also you can hit the label switch, and you have even like bigger knobs here. But you know, those are the miniaturized versions. But this is this one. Let me explain it maybe here, because here it is a little bit more easy to read, although there are like some very, very small visual bugs right now that came to recent refactors or advancement on the miniature side, and then the full version was like kind of like doing the same, and it's like a little bit, this is annoying me basically, but it is the same, as you can see. So here we have like very, very simple, right? We have like delay, it's self-explanatory, it would like start later. We have attack, which is again pretty self-explanatory, especially because it's visually very clear through our display. And then we have hold, which would like, you know, expand this section. And then we have decay, which, you know, becomes especially visible if we are like basically dragging down sustain. And then you have release. And that is relatively simple, but now our MSEG is a completely different story. First of all, anything that I will show you or draw here will not happen in this one. We will do that a bit different. This one will be staying as the amp envelope. This could even be a DAH-DSR, but I'm just going to keep it as this envelope. It's a little bit, oops, I accidentally, yeah. Just gonna pull that down to maybe an octave down. Let me do one thing. Yeah, I want something a little bit less aggressive if I hit the note a couple of times. So this one can actually, as I said, could absolutely stay maybe a little bit more. Release. But then if I switch phase, for example, to mod envelope, this is the crazy thing. They all have various phases. Amp is either amp, you know, or it is mod. And I can only, like, you know, you will not believe how difficult this is to program, that, you know, this all wires up correctly. One of the hardest things that I maybe have ever done in my life. And yeah, as I said, if I want to put a shape inside here, for example, a stair, then I can do that, and it will indeed follow that, and I can prove it to you very simple. I can just like drag and drop it here. Cool, right? Oh, I want to loop that. No problem, I got you covered. Now it's basically a LFO. You can put it also on sync, right? Like I can put, for example, I can sync it and loop it. I think there is a math issue, like there is, I think, like a little calculation issue inside there, but that's easily fixed. You know, I can put it on different sync settings there, or also like on 4 bars. Then it would be like this. So okay, it's of course like a very funny and a little bit nonsensical envelope, but let's say I want that here there is a triangle, for example, okay, or a square, or an SNH for that matter, or an SNG, or logarithmic up, logarithmic down, ramp up, ramp down. If I would want any of that, I can just like do that here. I can put a triangle here, and then now like I have a triangle here, and now it does. I should put that back here, of course. Now it's doing that, and you know, I can put it wherever I want. Like, although that again is like actually doesn't sound too bad. I thought like maybe that sounds a little bit wacky, but this is a very powerful system where you can basically draw whatever you want and change it, and also of course you can change the polarity, right? Like if I want to have it like whatever different, or if I want to have it longer, right? Like then I would just like take it and like drag it longer, basically. And I can like zoom in, hit the lock if I need to, you know, reel it in basically. It gets like really long if you want it to be, but we don't want it to be that long right now. Yeah, that is the MSEG. You have global release panel-wise. So like this global release of the MSEG is only for the mod env1, and then like if I go over to this, then that would have its own, of course. Like this is what makes this so complex, is that it has 2 faces in 2 places and 2 different envelopes with each of them 2 different states. I know that is a little bit lot, and I hope that people don't get cognitive overload, but you can basically just like also concentrate on just MSEGs if you prefer that, and you know, keep it simple basically if you prefer it. So you have 2 choices. You have the complex MSEGs where you can basically draw whatever you want, right? You can also do this all by hand, of course. You don't have to use the shape insertion. And that's that. You have a global time scale. So I can like time scale it. Let's say I wanted to have it like this really slow instead. Then I can also do that. In this case, you have to like hit the lock. So I can put the release really long for just now. Then you can actually see it also there. Let's put it even more long. Yeah, so it has like a little delay basically. That's the MSEG. It's one of the most delicate elements to design and not easy, as I said, but ultimately totally worth it. the time domain, of course, is also quite useful. So that's that. Before I'm getting like completely out of order, let's see what I show you next. I could show you the mutate mode, which is freaking insane as well. I could also show you... Yeah, let's just show you quickly the mutate mode. Mutate and warp AWC is what you are seeing here. It comes with a couple of cool features. This is our live performer. Let me show you first of all, okay, preview simulation mode. That is audition mode. And the camera just got stuck another time. So I can, before I mutate it, mutation wise, I can like take any wavetable, right? And take algorithms and then like calculate them onto. And then if I click reforge, then it would calculate that on. And it's non-deterministic, so I can also go back and reforge it, basically. Now it's back to what it was before. I put it even a little bit more, so it's like becomes super obvious. Of course, you don't want to do that, but you can. And let's reforge it back. And you have different algorithms there. So you can take, for example, spectral FM and calculate it. Let's maybe deactivate those because, you know, put it a little bit less. Yeah, that sounds a lot more sensible. So I can take any of those oscillators, also like the basic simple one, and take, for example, spectral FM and calculate it inside. A little bit less for less dramatic effect. This is designed that way for a very simple reason, to give you the flexibility, because, you know, depending on what you have as a source material, you would want those extreme destructive effect potential. So you can put it a little bit like this, and then it sounds really cool in a normal oscillator, but you can also put it like a lot more dramatic, and would like be like that, and then it sounds quite harsh. So that would be, maybe you want to mix it or do something else with it. This system works for VECTRA Forge and for our VECTRA oscillators, and it has this preview feature. So this is a simulation, and this is one of the only parts that just by design cannot 100% be accurate, especially if I'm showing you the spectral resonator, one of our state-of-the-art AWC mutate modes that I have developed. And we're going here, we're going basically first of all to zero mutation, so that we have it like very simple. And I'm especially now choosing a super bland standard basic wavetable shape, which is basically sine, square, and saw. Now it is mostly on saw. And then I have a couple of options here. I'm going to put a lot of decay and a lot of, you know, gain and so forth. This is again like a little bit in development. UI wise, this will be cleaned up, of course. And then I can like just reforge that in. Let's put it a little bit less, and every time when I hit forge on any given setting, it's like re-rolling the dice, so you can see that it is like, you know, oh, now I know, okay. I had the reso a little bit up here. Now I will show you one of the parts that is quite, like, not, I have, like, my advanced panels are ready, but they are not yet in there. So this is one of the parts that are not looking as crazy as the rest, and it's the last part of the stuff that is outside of the project that I will have to bring inside the project, but I need to use the reverb right now, so I'm gonna quickly do that. Yep. Okay, mod envelope. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to insert a shape here. Then I can like just actually show you that a little bit in action. Sample and hold. Well, the time domain. The time domain is still a little bit like, let's put that a little bit shorter. Or actually a lot shorter, maybe even. Yeah, I like that. And then I just take it and I put it here. And then in this case, I just hit that little loop knob. And actually at the same time, the cool thing is I can mix it inside the oscillator. So I can like, you know, take my spectral resonator and go full bore. Or I can just like, you know, leave a little bit of the saw inside. But I actually like it more like this, and then I would like, again, mix it with other ones. I can of course just like take this one. Let's do a forge one. Oscillator 2, I'm gonna select it. Let's put something crazy here. Although that is like probably like a little bit... Oh, oopsie, oopsie. And okay, we have of course here our preview. We can also deactivate that. I get that like some of the features might be a little bit heavy for some people also. Because like, you know, there is a lot of visualizers and so forth. But this will be optional, and I will also like have an echo mode when the whole thing is done. This actually is like completely obsolete. Actually be like that. Make it a bit more simple. Now is actually a good moment to also like head over to our mod matrix. Okay, what do we have connected? Yeah, here we have our whole setup. Basically, we have mod envelope 1, which is connected to oscillator pitch 1. And we have LFO1, which is also connected to pitch 1 at the moment. We have LFO2 connected to a cutoff 1, mod envelope 1 connected to oscillator 2 pitch as well. And LFO2 on WT position 2, so on the wavetable index of the second oscillator. And here we have an empty one. And this is a system that I'm designing right now. I just noticed there is a bug right now because you can only for some reason see the LFOs right now. And normally you should also see the cables if you want from the envelopes. But the cool thing is that I can just like take, for example, those are the envelopes, the 4 envelopes, which is like filter, mod 1, amp, and mod 2. And I can just, for example, take, you know, this one and then like drag it there, and I have like filter envelope now here. And I could choose something down here from the, so to say, from the DNA laboratory. For example, I'm just going to take WT position and can just like put it here. And then normally, yeah, this one shows. You also see the cables. And yeah, not sure why this one is not showing. Maybe it's not activated or something. Not sure. Let's remove this one. It could also be like a little small bug. And this basically makes it a lot more interactive and intuitive, right? Like you can do everything here and do it basically all with the drag and drop system. But you can also do it all here because you have sources and you have the destinations, right? And you can just like take a source, let's say, okay, LFO4, right? Bam, take LFO4. And then like oscillator 2 pitch. And now this is connected. We go to our LFO page. You can also see LFO4 a little bit bigger. It's a lot to show you, so I can't do it in one video and my camera is keeping on like refusing. I hope that you enjoyed this little tour. There's lots which I didn't show you yet. Like for example that this is like super sad that I couldn't make it. If you activate that, then normally it would play a sound, but like you can like do a lot of stuff with this ARP, and it has like 2 modes, a simple mode where you can control, you know, velocity and gate, and then a complex mode where you have more options. But this is for a future video. Yeah. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, that's great. Then show your support. Let me know what you think, if you like. And also there will be a closed beta soon. You can get in touch with me, and if you're interested, then I might get you a spot on the closed beta. With that said, any questions, feedback, you're welcome to put it down below. This is of course an in-development project, and I appreciate that you have spent so much time with me. If you really have spent all the time with me, then that's super amazing. I would show you more, but you know, I did this like unprepared in a way, and therefore I think it would be greater if I like do more in-depth stuff and in future videos. If you hit the like and subscribe and comment, then even more. You can also check all the links down in the description. And also do some videos which are a lot more curated, of course, and, you know, showcase maybe the systems a little bit better than I could in this brief, quote-unquote, 1 hour long video. Peace out, guys. Much love.